last part. Figure since we were running apologies out there to anybody who is waiting. I will go ahead and retweet this out so that we make sure that it is getting. I know what that buzzing is all about.
Yeah, you're live.
Yeah. Yeah, but I figure we got a little moment. Let some of the peeps realize we're here. I know it's going to take a moment for people to get used to our weekly classes, and as we start to build up in the spirit, hopefully we will lure more people in. But in the meantime, in between time, we've got to teach those classes, right?
Yes, sir. Them who have an ear, lend an ear.
Yeah. I just got to do this one last thing, get my mic set. Have your Bible ready, sir?
Yep, I'm already at Exodus 12, if that's where you intended to start.
That is exactly where I want to start. Exodus 12. And in fact, we're just going to start Exodus 12 and 1 right at the beginning of it.
All right. Just wanted to briefly say happy Passover.
Oh, I like your menorah. It's pretty tall.
Israel. Thank you.
Mine is not lit currently. You want me to grab it so you can see it?
Sure, that'd be cool. So give some more time for people to get here.
Oh no, you're not on mute.
Oh,
I just forgot. I just plugged you in.
Oh, okay, cool.
Could you say that again, sir?
Yeah, if you could.
Yeah, I'll
go show the audience your menorah as they get over here.
Yeah, sure. I'll show them the audience, and I'll hop on and share this out. Let them know that we're live. Actually, I probably can go ahead and put this on Facebook also. Go over to my channel. Soon it'll be our channel. Just got to figure out how to switch the name up. Share. Let's see, hold on a second. Where is that? Oh, there's my page. And as you all come into the room, just say a little hello. Let us know that you're there. Hey, I see we got our brother Misha is in the house. How are we doing, brother? I'm just letting everybody know to come and check us out. Very special class we have tonight.
High Holy Day.
Yes, it is a high holy day. Can you explain to everybody what a high holy day is?
So, from my understanding, it is that a high holy day is one of the 3 major feasts of the year where Israel is commanded to gather.
Simply, high holy day is a holy holiday. There you go, layman terms. You don't have to be all technical. Gotta pick on you.
Oh.
But that's all. It is just in the most simplest form. It is a holiday that we are commanded to have. Actually, why don't I just go back to my actual page, retweet that out that we're live.
Very happy to see you asking for the milk, Misha.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Sorry, my apologies for not making it last night. My allergies flared up really, really bad. Had nose just running all day long. I mean, to the point where I had to keep my nose stopped up with tissue just to not go home. Eyes were red and burning. Ears were stopped up. Equilibrium was all off. Then once that died down, then my head was thumping all night long. And so even when I woke up this morning, my head was still just giving me the business. So, all praises to the Most High for getting that off me. Maybe he, you know what? Everything is in the spirit because I believe, you know what? He might have wanted us to have this class for tonight. That's right. I said I'm going to go run and grab my menorah real quick. So I'm going to go grab that, show you guys so you guys can see it. Fuzz, since Misha's in, show him your menorah again.
That's right. Not able to see that. Whoops. Hopefully I got a good view there.
There we go.
Also a Shabbat Shalom for tonight is the Sabbath. It is the Sabbath day.
Shabbat Shalom. Let's see. I'm here to represent the pagan side of the conversation. All right, let me click my camera on. Here we go. Here is my menorah.
We got the exact same menorah.
Yeah, yours looks taller than. Oh, you have your candles in. But yeah, if you look in, it's pretty interesting. Both sides. So yes. Yeah, I copied you.
that is awesome.
Yes. So we I'm trying to figure out where did I actually want to start. And thank you everybody for joining. Hopefully hopefully we're able to edify the crowd. First and foremost, I want to give honor to my Heavenly Father. Call Allah Yahweh by Shib Yahweh Shai. That is giving honor to the Heavenly Father through his Son, Yahweh Shai, or in layman's terms or colloquial terms, which most people are familiar with, the man Jesus Christ. Shadow my wife right there with you. All right, so the topics tonight that we are going to talk about is we are going to talk about the establishment of the Passover, and we are both celebrating our Passovers right now. We're going to go into that. We are going to go into the first Passover, and then I want to talk about, we're going to go, the establishment of the Passover. We'll go into that when Fuzz, after I finish my little spiel. And then we will talk about the last Passover before the Messiah was crucified, which leads into what some people call Easter, which I prefer to call the crucifixion and resurrection. And then we'll go into where Easter, to finish it off, we will go into, have a little bit of fun. We're going to go into more secular information to go into, some of the paganism of Easter and where it actually comes from. So for those who are tuning in, who might be practicing Judaism, we are Hebrew Israelites, so we do it a tad bit differently. There are some things which have an overlap in similarities, of course, the matzah or unleavened bread, which you are commanded to have. Hey, there's Tina. One thing that we do a little bit differently, I know some people talk about the eggs and stuff. We don't really do the eggs thing, but bitter herbs and things like that. And we'll get into all those things as we get to the scripture. So let's start off with the origin of the Passover in the Torah, or easily in the book of Exodus. Specifically, we're going to start with Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. Actually, I forgot. Hold on a second. Let me put this on the screen. I know it won't be as big as I would prefer. One of these days, I'm going to try to figure this out, how to make it bigger. But I think I want to put it on the screen anyway. That way, for those who do not have a Bible, they can follow along with this. Or actually, I guess if you guys will bear with me a moment, I will try to figure out how to change. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, does that say it right there? Font size. Let's see what this large looks like. Oh, that's good. No, let's go with extra large. Oh, yeah, I like that. I like that. That'll work. So, let's change it off of this view. And let me share screen, bring this up. All right, Fuzz, are you ready? Let's see.
Yes, sir.
Can you all see that on the screen? How does that look? That look better? I'll keep us on the side. There we go. Can you all see that? Tina, Misha, Shadow, give me a 1 in the chat if you guys can see that. Okay.
Or if a 2, or a 2 if the size needs to be bigger.
Yeah, I think that's as big as I can go. Shadow says 9. Of course. Gotta have the funny guy in there. So, all right. Let's go on ahead and get started. You ready, Fuzz?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's get to reading, my man.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 12, and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you.
Stop that. For those who do not understand, Passover is also marking the beginning of the Hebrew year. So, granted, throughout the different forms of either Judaism to Hebrew Israelites to just Torah keepers in general, whether the Passover was done in couple of weeks ago into the end of March, or whether it's being done now or any of the times in between, all of those people who practice that or observe are all marking the beginning of their year. I know mostly everybody else had theirs in January, but this is the beginning of our new year. So sorry to interrupt that, but go on ahead and continue.
Before continuing, it should say something that the beginning of the Hebrew year seems most appropriate with the season of spring happening in April, as opposed to the dead of winter that is January.
Think about it. You know, spring is everything being anew. It's the beginning of something, not starting your year while everything is dead and dying or laid dormant, you know. So that's how we keep with some of these things. And also, while we're talking about Yahushua or Christ, this would have been also around the same time which he would have been born. But that's for another lesson. Let's get back to it.
Verse 2. Verse 3. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it, according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats. And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
Now stop real quick. Now, granted, we are not able to practice it in its entirety, so what we're doing is this is in remembrance. We're not actually able to go and sacrifice our lamb for our sins. We're not able to take it to the Temple Mount. And when they say that everyone should kill it, that's talking about it's going to be taken to the temple which would be in Israel. Even now in modern day, the people who are in Israel, there is no actual temple anymore. So that practice still could not even be done even with Israelis. So it needs to be carried out by the Levites specifically. Just like if you notice in verse 1, let me put that back up and scroll back. Remember what it said specifically in verse 1, Fuzz?
The Lord spoke unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt.
This is Moses speaking to Moses and Aaron, which Moses and Aaron are the Levites, the priest. And so that's why this task is being put on them, for them to spread this word throughout Israel. Let's see, we stopped at 6. Mm-hmm. So this is all of these high holy days. We're supposed to go through them as a remembrance. And some of it is how they always talk about how history doesn't necessarily rhyme, but it repeats. This is about also the Israelites are supposed to do this for the welcoming of their salvation and them being taken out of that form of Egypt and bondage, even in the modern day. My Shadow says, heads up, my boy took Tina's phone and May said hello. It is all good. We love the little man also. He could definitely say hello. All right, Fuzz, going ahead and continue. Where are we at? 6?
7.
7. All right, let's go continue.
And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the 2 side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. And thus shall ye eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
Now, Fuzz, can you explain to me why are we eating this lamb in haste?
Very simply put, this is the moment when the Most High God is about to bust Israel out of Egypt. And in a little bit, we're going to end up reading something that's going to be done to the Egyptians that will cause Pharaoh to kick them out with lightning and intense fury.
Well, I guess I'll break into it in a little bit more, but yes, that's a good explanation. Would you like to go back and break down any of that information?
So for verse 7, and they shall take of the blood and strike it on the 2 side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. This is supposed to be the Israelites marking on their door for something to pass over them that's about to happen to Egypt. Because in the prior chapters, there were a whole bunch of miracles performed. And this is going to be the last one. And it's going to be a very mighty one. And so, in order to avoid that wrath, they need to leave a special marking on the door.
As you can see in the background, which I have, that is, let me switch this one. You guys see that? Blood on the doorpost there. Now, let me pull it back up and go into it, and let me break some of this down and explain. Or let's go back in, and where'd you stop off at?
At 8.
At 8. Okay. So actually, let's go back up to 1, and I'm gonna break this down bit by bit. Going ahead, we've already talked about how, and the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months, meaning the beginning of the year. It shall be the first month of the year to you. 3, speak unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man of lamb according to the house of their fathers, and a lamb for an house. Granted, I know today is the 15th. It is not the 10th day, but this gets into a more complicated explanation, which we can go into at a later time. But let's just say, going into our calculations and dealing with Nisan and dealing with the Hebrew calendar, which is different than the Gregorian calendar, which most of us are reading. The way we calculate it, we're pretty certain that this would be about the 10th. Correct, Fuzz?
Correct.
All right. So let's continue.
I just wanted to add to that.
Oh, go ahead. Because this is your area. This is your area of expertise.
It specifically needs to be the 10th through the 14th day of the month, because these would be considered the working days of the so-called week.
Correct.
So, and the Passover would technically be falling under a work day because it involves the act of cooking with fire.
Mm-hmm. Which one thing is an exception, normally on a high holy day, Shabbat, because they are feast days also, that is one of the few times where you will be permitted to the open flame on that Shabbat, as it says in there when it starts talking about the cooking of the lamb. And if all the lamb is not finished at night, it should be all burned up. So let me continue. If the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor. Let me skip down. Okay, 5. This is every man according to his deeds may count the lamb. That's basically just talking about it needs to be enough to be able to count for all of those sins, because the penalty for most of these sins is death. You would put your sins upon this lamb to be sacrificed in your place for those sins. 5, your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. The reason why that lamb needs to be without blemish is it needs to be pure and clean. If it's a blemished lamb, that's representative of the sins that you have. So it's like giving a poor offering, which that's something that one of these lessons we're going to get into with Cain and Abel. Um, a male of the first year, ye shall take out from the sheep or from the goats, and that's going into that. That needs to be, of a prime stock, basically. Where else did I wanted to go into? Okay, this part, which you guys can see in the background, I have, and they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper doorposts of the house, where they shall eat it. That's where you're going to eat your Passover inside of that dorm, that domicile. 8, and they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread. Unleavened bread. Would you like to explain to the people what unleavened bread is, and what the bitter herbs, like what kind of things will qualify as bitter herbs?
So, as to what would qualify for bitter herbs, off the top of my head, comes parsley and lettuce.
Cabbage.
Yeah.
You could have olives, things like that are considered bitter herbs. Believe it or not, here's something which you might not have thought of. Even a pickle. The pickle is technically a bitter herb.
Damn. I wish I would have known that last night.
Yeah. Another thing, like say for instance, if you're a person who'd like to say as a side dish you want to make with your to go along with your lamb and your unleavened bread, say you want to make pasta salad. Well, you're making that pasta salad normally with tomatoes and all of these things like that. And you got to make sure that that pasta is unleavened pasta. So as long as you're able to do that, then you're good to go. Most pastas, for the most part, would be, but you do got to be careful. A good chunk of them are not. So if you do have that, then you also you're able to put your vegetables. Either some people use balsamic, which that would give you the bitterness onto your herbs. You could also do ground parsley, garlic, stuff like that.
Horseradish, yeah, was also a thing.
And you can have those ground and put those in olive oil and dip the bread and things like that. And so that's just some different options. We're going into a little menu for a minute. I got my as soon as I get off from this class, I'll be doing mine. But yeah, and make sure and I'll go into why you need to eat this fast a little bit later. But unleavened bread. Now, explain to the people what unleavened bread is.
In essence, it is bread that omits yeast. That when Israel has to exit Egypt, the purpose of having unleavened bread is you're essentially going to be leaving so fast the bread in your oven is not going to have time to rise.
Yeah, so you need to have bread that doesn't even rise. Also, by leaving leaven, the leaven itself, that yeast attracts flies and insects and can bring in stuff that would corrupt that bread. And so it's a form of, especially back in those older times, been a lot easier and harder to keep your food clarified and purified. And so it's also an allegory or a parable. Me and Fuzz were talking about this the other day. Would you like to I guess go ahead and explain a little bit about what this parable about getting rid of the leaven, why you need to have unleavened bread?
So from my understanding, the leaven is supposed to be representative of sin and removing anything that involves the self, like a sense of self that rises in pride, and to with Passover, you're bringing remembrance to the like exiting the captivity of Egypt, and you're essentially remembering where you came from, the humble beginnings, and try to stick to the attitude, like that kind of mentality, like to not really be so self-risen like Levin.
And I guess to set the context a little, we won't go into all the scriptures, but I know mostly everybody out there is familiar with Moses saying, "Let my people go," correct? This is all setting up the context um, of Moses trying to basically get freedom for the children of Israel and all of the different things that happen to the Pharaoh and happen in the land of Egypt, leading to the Israelites getting their freedom. So I guess we'll go ahead and hop back in and continue.
So we left off at 12, I think.
Let me double check.
Yeah, it should be 12.
All right, let me get it caught up on the screen. No. Bitter herbs shall and eat rotten experts. Anything else I wanted to go into there? No. Or all of that is pretty clear. And thus shall ye eat with your loins girded up, shoes on your staff. Okay, yeah. 12. Yes. Go ahead and start with 12.
Verse 12. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you, to destroy you, when I smite the land of Egypt. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever.
And right there, that nice, short and simple. These 14 verses are the whole purpose and point of Passover. Now, this is the first Passover in the establishment of the Passover. But let's go into, I used to often call it the last Passover when I was in Christianity and didn't quite understand nearly as well. But let's go into the next major Passover event. Let's see, where do I want to go? Turn to Luke 22. And that's for you guys out there who are following along with your Bibles. If you have it with you, if you don't, that's fine. I'm going to pull it up on my screen. Let me know when you're there, Fuzz. Yes, let me know when you're there, sir.
Damn. Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, just to confirm, Luke 22.
Yes, Luke 22, and where do I want to start? Actually, you know what? For this one, we're just going ahead and start at 1 also. And in the chat, if you guys have any questions, please stop us and ask. Especially right now, we have it's not a lot of you in there, so we can be able to spend that individual time and giving you guys all better understanding of some of these things. So If there's any questions, just stop us and ask. No question is a silly question. Just ask. The only silly question is a question that you do not ask. So let me put it on the screen. And get it ready. I have the first 6.5 verses up and ready. Or while you're doing that, I can go on ahead and read. That's fine.
I'm ready. That's fine.
Okay.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 22 and verse 1. Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover. And the chief priests and scribes sought how they might kill him, for they feared the people.
Now, let's pause it real quick. I figure I'll just go ahead and jump in early and then break this down so we can keep going through it. Now, the Feast of the Unleavened Bread drew nigh, which means close, which is called the Passover. So this is letting you know, the Passover is also called the Feast of Unleavened Bread. That's another name for it. So this is something to keep in mind in case you hear it. For those who are familiar with the Bible, you guys might be already familiar with some of this stuff, but for those who are not, let me kind of set the stage for what is going on here. Fuzz, are you familiar with this area?
Not yet.
Yes. Okay. So those who are familiar with the New Testament, they'll be familiar with this. For those who are not, let me explain it. After the birth of the man known as Jesus Christ, he at an early age showed an aptitude and understanding of teaching the gospel and the scriptures, and that led to anger. Also, from the moment of his birth, the king Herod was trying to kill him, literally from the time he was born, trying to seek out where he was so he could be murdered. So you guys hear about the three wise men. The three wise men were supposed to notify King Herod where the child was, so that mercenaries can be sent to kill him. They chose not to do that because they knew that he was, and I don't know, misnomer me saying three wise men. It doesn't actually say three wise men; it says wise men. So, and like, actually, no, it might say three wise men. I'll have to double check, but that's not the point right now. I think I'm getting that mixed up with it because some people will say, well, three wise men, they gave three gifts. That I think that's what it is. It's three wise men, but it's not determined exactly how many gifts or what was given. So we'll leave it there. Which actually one of the gifts, which is what you guys see smoking in front of us right now, frankincense and myrrh, was one of the gifts that was given. Yes, you can see, yep, frankincense. So now let's fast forward up. At the time of when he was 33, or not 33, let's say in his 30s, that's when his ministry really got going. So as his ministry got going more and more and more, he got more and more pushback, which led to a lot of anger, especially from the Pharisees and the Sadducees and various other people throughout the land of Israel. So as these people in the land of Israel started to grow anger at him and wanting to stop his doctrine, the Pharisees start trying to find ways that he needed to be killed. Long story short, because this is another lesson to go into another time, because there's so many integral details. Intricacies. There's so many details to go into. There are divisions which are not necessarily clean cut and laid out. So I'm just laying this out very colloquial for right now. Let's just say that he had enemies. Even within his own people, he had people who supported him, but needed him to be sacrificed also so that he could live up to the prophecy. So you had all of these different angles going on within here. And so at this point in time, This is this would be called the last. This is the verse, the part in the Bible. If you guys hear about the famous picture, the Last Supper, this is going into the Last Supper. And that Last Supper, which a lot of people don't realize, the Last Supper was a Passover. So at this, we're going to go into some of the things that were talked about. He's going to talk about a couple things here and there. So I wanted to bring this up because it is a Passover. And I felt like this was just, it was very fitting. And I feel like if you're going to talk anything about Passover, we need to go into this part. So, going ahead and continue, sir.
Verse 3.
Or actually read 2 again, because I kind of talked about that, but this is that part telling you. And the chief priests and scribes sought how they might kill him, for they feared the people. And the people they're talking about is they feared he would start to grow. His name and his doctrine was starting to well, not necessarily his doctrine, but his doctrine, because he was confounding a lot of different things which they believed in and that they were teaching. So because he was contradicting a lot of that, and even the king in the time wanted to find ways that he could take him down. And at this time, we got to remember, or for those who don't know, at this time, Israel was basically a vassal state. It was under control by the Romans. The Romans had complete power over that. So when you guys hear about them talking about him going to Pontius Pilate is a Roman. And so these people were over the land of Israel. So a lot of the different things that went on, they had a little bit of autonomy to be able to do those things within Israel. But for certain things, they still had to go to the Romans and ask for permission. So that little wrap to get you guys caught up, and let's go ahead and start with 3.
All right, verse 3. Then entered Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12.
And that's talking about the 12 disciples.
And he went his way and communed with the chief priests and captains, how he might betray him unto them. And they were glad and covenanted to give him the money. And he promised and sought opportunity to betray him unto them in the absence of the multitude.
And so this is all setting up the course of events that is going before this Passover meal that Christ is having with his disciples. I'm going to continue.
Then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed.
Passover lamb, that's what they're talking about.
And he sent Peter and John, saying, Go and prepare us the Passover, that we may eat. And they said unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare? And he said unto them, Behold, when ye are entered into the city, there shall a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he entereth in. And ye shall say unto the good man of the house, The master saith unto thee, Where is the guest chamber, where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And he shall show you a large upper room furnished. There make ready. And they went and found as he had said unto them, and they made ready the Passover. And when the hour was come, he sat down, and the 12 apostles with him. And he said unto them, With desire I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer.
So let me pause it right there. Did you hear that? Let's read 15 one more time slowly for everybody.
And he said unto them, With desire I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer.
Just keep that in mind. I'm going to continue.
For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof, until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of God.
So right here, he is telling you, he knows this is going to be his last Passover. He knows he's about to die already. Did you know this part, Fuzz?
Mm-mm.
Yes, he already knew of his death. He knew it was coming. So let's go ahead and continue for a little bit more context on that.
Verse 17. And he took the cup and gave thanks and said, Take this and divide it amongst yourselves. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God shall come. And he took bread and gave thanks and brake it and gave unto them, saying, This is my body which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me. Likewise also the cup after supper, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you.
Pause it. Right there. This is when people are often saying, which in the Baptist church you do communion, and they're doing it all the time. This is basically them redoing the Passover over and over and over, and they're not doing it in its proper season. That communion which they're doing is in remembrance. So if you ever wonder why you do that in church, this is what communion is all about. I used to love, like, oh, can I get them little dry crackers and that little grape juice? Yeah, I used to love that. You get a little shot glass of grape juice, and what that's supposed to symbolize is supposed to symbolize the blood of his body and his soul, and the connection of him being within you. The Messiah is within you. Just like it says in certain scriptures that the kingdom of heaven is within you. That's what all of those things are going into and alluding to. Any questions on that, or is that pretty clear? Oh, that's you too, Fuzz. If you have any questions, let me know.
I'm good. Seems pretty clear.
All right, let's see. And we left off with 21. This is when it's about to get interesting. So make sure you buckle up. Pay attention to this part if you're not familiar with it. Continue.
But behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table. And truly the Son of Man goeth, as it was determined. But woe unto that man by whom he is betrayed.
Now, Fuzz, what does that word woe mean?
Despair.
Despair. What's another word for it? What's another word for it? Because in Revelations, it talks about, two woes and a third woe coming. For those who do not know, woe also means destruction. So when he's telling him this, and truly the Son of Man goeth, he's talking about passes, dies as it was determined or decided, but destruction onto the man whom he is betrayed. So he's like, hey, it's already been ordained and decided I'm going to die. But the person who betrayed me, destruction upon you. Like literally he's cursing this person right to their face, because he's sitting there with his 12 disciples, and one of them he knows has betrayed him. The other disciples don't know any of this. Imagine you're all just sitting there, and I'm like, I know one of y'all ratted me out. And you're all sitting up there like, oh, shoot, who did it? Who did it? I didn't do it. Is it me? Does he? And here's the thing with some of these disciples, they don't even know some of the stuff that they're going to do. He knows what they're going to do before they do it. So sorry for my little tangent, but let's go back into it.
No, it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And they began to inquire among themselves which of them it was that should do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also a strife among them, which of them should be accounted the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
And he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them.
Now, what this
And
is talking about right here, I'm sorry to interrupt this part. The kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them. This is talking about the other nations are ruling over the Israelites right now. Continue.
The kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's like saying that you guys know what a benefactor is, right? A benefactor is somebody who like pays for some kind of organization and to help them. This is what they're saying. These people who are lording over us and they exercise authority upon them are called benefactors. So it's like saying that they're doing a favor to you. Continue.
I actually wanted to bring a precept to that, like to show that, to kind of prove that Israel is under a vassal state under Deuteronomy. Let me see, where is it at?
Well, you got to remember, at this time, this is before Deuteronomy happened.
Oh, well, I was going to bring out...
This is before they went to Mount Sinai.
Okay, never mind. All right. All right. I was going to say that Herod would be like...
Oh, no. Sorry. Never mind. Sorry. I'm wrong. I was still thinking about... Exodus.
Exodus.
Yeah. Sorry. All this. Never mind. Ignore everything I just said. This is Deuteronomy. What are you gonna bring up? Deuteronomy 28.
17.
Deuteronomy 17. Okay. Yeah. That precept will work. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 17 and verse 14 through 15. When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, over the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shall thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother.
Exactly. And for those who don't know, I'll lay in how this situation even happened, just in short. And if you guys have any questions, we can always go to the scriptures to back it up and prove it. But just trying to make sure I stay within the time frame to get to all the things I want to get to tonight and not run the lesson too long. And we will definitely come back to these things and revisit on some of these subjects. You had when Israel was split in two. You had the northern kingdom and you had the southern kingdom. Actually, no. Sorry. This is I guess I do need to establish that first. You had a northern kingdom and you had a southern kingdom. The northern kingdom went off into captivity, does not come back into the land. So at this point, you just have the southern kingdom. Now, did you have some Israelites who were from the northern kingdom come back into the land? Yes, but predominantly there are three tribes when it's talking about in the New Testament. It's talking about predominantly Judah, which is the main tribe of Judea, which this is the land which we're talking about when we're talking about Israel in the New Testament. You have the tribe of Benjamin also, which Paul which a lot of Christians go to Paul's writings a lot, and Paul's written a lot of the New Testament. Paul would be from the tribe of Benjamin. Then you would have the tribe of Levi. Yes, we've talked about Levi already. That would be Moses and Aaron. And so these are the three tribes with three main tribes which are in the land. There would be some remnants of some of the other tribes who were there, but it's predominantly these three tribes. Since Judah is the king tribe, what happened is during one of the periods when they're trying to succeed power to the next king, there was a strife between two brothers. One brother who didn't really want to be the king, the other brother wanted to be the king. The brother who was supposed to be the king decided, I don't really want it, I'll let the other one take over. But because, and a lot of times this is how it happens, the wife of that king never felt comfortable and felt like that the one who was rightfully supposed to be the king, the older brother, was going to come back with an army and try to come after the other king and push him out of power. Well, because these two kings went back and forth fighting, eventually one of the brothers decided to bring the Romans in as a third party to negotiate things. Well, what ended up happening is the Romans came in and said, well, you guys can't stop fighting and can't figure this out. We're just going to come in and kind of take over things. And so that is how they led into this vassal state that they are in right now, which we are talking about. So let's hop back into that part. Ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Verse 26.
Yeah, let me put it up here. 26.
But ye shall not be so. But he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he that is chief, as he that doth serve. For whether is greater, he that sitteth at meat, or he that serveth, is not he that sitteth at meat, but I am among you as he that serveth.
Do you want me to explain that, or do you understand that?
I actually needed some explanation.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of figured because it's a little, the old English and the way they put some of the stuff in the KJV can be a little confusing to read sometimes. For whether is greater. So who is, well, let me go back to 26 to give more context. For ye shall not be so, but he that is greatest among you, that's saying he who's older. Because how you do lineage is it's normally the oldest brother who takes over, or oldest son. Let him be as younger, him be as the younger, and he that is the chief as he doth serve. So basically, this is throwing the whole understanding of lineage of the older taking over just because. He's saying, let he who is the older or the greatest act as the younger brother. So he is not going to be, he's not going to be the rule. The younger is going to be the chief, and that's the one that's going to serve. And he says, whether is greater he that sitteth at meat. So it's talking about, or he that serveth. Sitting at meat is serving. It's saying you're sitting in that spot of rulership. Is not he that sitteth at meat, but I am among you as he that serveth. So it's saying that no matter who's basically sitting on the throne, I'm the one who's ruling still. And so you need to rule as how I would rule. That's basically what this is trying to tell you. So that when you are about to do something, you will always think of me and think of my Father and how it will be done. And you won't rule as if you are the king and everything is going your way. Like it clarifies here when you get into 28. Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations. And when that's going into the temptations, there's a part where he fasts for 40 days and 40 nights, and Satan tries to tempt him of all kind of different ways. It's talking about that resistance to temptation. In 29, and I appoint unto you a kingdom as my father hath appointed unto me, meaning this is my kingdom, but I rule through my father, just like this will be your kingdom and you will rule through me. But going ahead, you can continue with 30. Or did that make sense, or you need more
I
clarification?
actually wanted to verify if I can understand it. Just verse 26 and 27 sounds to me like the birthing of Esau and Jacob.
Yes, where the roles are being reversed, correct?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the same kind of thing there.
Okay.
Cursing the Easter Bunny isn't quite the same as praising the Lord. That's funny, Juicy. That is funny. The killer rabbit was Jesuit trained to control. Oh man, here we go with the jokes. Good one. But
Alrighty.
yeah, we're going ahead and continue. But yeah, it is just it's that same kind of parable as how it talks about the younger, the older will serve the younger.
Okay, got it. Verse 28. Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations. And I appoint unto you a kingdom, as my Father hath appointed unto me, that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
Yeah, hold it right there. That right there is giving an allude to an end time prophecy. It's saying that those 12 will sit on 12 thrones ruling the 12 tribes of Israel. I also believe that that's alluding to regeneration and things like that, but that's a whole nother discussion for another time. But going ahead and continue with 31.
Oh, dang, I was ready to already break out Revelations 3. Or would that be too soon?
I mean, yeah, if you actually, we'll hold it for later.
All right. Okay.
But just remember this and remember this precept here.
Okay. Verse 31. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not, and when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren.
So it's talking of Simon Peter, and it's saying that when Satan is trying to tempt you in desire, it's because he knows that you are strong. And he's saying, if you can overcome this, be converted, and you'll be strengthened. He's like, but I pray for thee that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthened by thy brethren, by thy brothers, by the other disciples, which as you go on later on, you'll start to find out that a lot of the disciples ran into the same fate which he ran into with the crucifixion. So yes, let's go on and continue.
33. And he said unto him, Lord, I am ready to go with thee, both into prison and to death.
Like I said again, he knew what was coming. He knew that he was going to be betrayed. He knew that he was going to be killed. He was trying to set his line of succession for the next brother to take over after he was gone. And he has mentally prepared himself. He's had his Passover. He's ready to go into prison, and he's ready to face his death. Going ahead.
Verse 34. And he said, I tell thee, Peter, the cock shall not crow this day before that thou shalt thrice deny that thou knowest me. And he said unto them, When I sent you without purse and scrip and shoes, lacked ye anything? And they said nothing.
All right, let me hold that. I know you haven't really read into the New Testament, but do you understand what's going on here?
Let me process that last verse.
Yeah, because well, you got to probably put 34 and 35 together to kind of because this is what I'll give you a tip or not tip, but I'll kind of give you a little bit of tip off to what's happening here. He's telling him, he's predicting again, telling him things that are going to happen in the future. This time he's telling to another brother. But going ahead, let me see what understanding do you get from this.
This reminds me of Israel's time. What brings to mind is Moses letting Israel know before they're about to take the land of Canaan that they've dwelt 40 years in the wilderness, and you pretty much were able to survive these 40 years with the Lord and with nothing, like without lacking anything. That's what comes to mind.
Well, one of the things he tells them, which goes into his ministry, he tells them to go and sell everything they have. He goes and tells them to sell everything that they sell their earthly possessions. And so the fact that they're able to sell their possessions, they're able to do fasting. He's like, you're going to be good without all this stuff. You don't need to stress it. You're going to be good. And what he's telling here is this is something which is going to happen. This is and we won't go all the way into it, but let's see. Let's just skip ahead to its actual I'm going ahead and because this is basically alluding to this is something that's going to happen at his trial. Let me skim. Actually, yeah. Should we keep going?
Yeah. What especially what brings me back to like the Israelites dwelling in the wilderness were some of them complaining about, man, we had it good in Egypt, like this attachment, like once they were separated from that when they were liberated out of there, and like as long as they held fast to Yahweh, then they wouldn't have any need for that sort of past tendencies or those cravings.
And I see Dubster in there. Hey, Dubster. Can you clarify what you mean about tumblestone and the offensive stone? Please clarify that. And I can try to answer your question. If I can't answer your question. If I can't, I can't. But yeah, not familiar with what you mean exactly by the tumblestone. I'll go ahead and bring this up and read because I'm gonna kind of speed this up so we can get to like the fulfilling of some of these prophecies which he was alluding to. Everybody knows that he was crucified, right? Everybody knows that he arisen on the third day. But this is going into the whole course of events that happened there. So let me hop back over and I will continue the reading. And then he said 36, and then he said unto them, but now he that hath purse. Oh, well, that's right. We already read that one. Yeah. Oh no, I didn't. Oh, well, let's just read it anyway. He said unto them, but now he that hath purse money, let him take it, and likewise his scrip, and that he hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. 37. For I say unto you that this that is written must yet be accomplished in me. And he was reckoned among the transgressors. For the things concerning me have an end. So he's talking about, all these prophecies that talked about me will have an end. 38. And they said, Lord, behold, there are two swords. And he said unto them, it is enough. 39. He came out and went as he was wont to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples also followed. 40. When he was at that place, he said unto them, pray that ye enter not into temptation. This is going back into that, maintaining yourself and not going into temptation. 41. He was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast, and he kneeled down and prayed. 42, saying, Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. At this point, he knows what has to happen. And he's still showing that even the Messiah shows a little bit of human emotion here. Like, man, I want to do your will, but I mean, man, if this cup can be removed from me and I don't have to go through this, I'm more than happy to not have to go through this. But if it's your will that I got to be sacrificed, okay, I'll do it. And I'll read this again and see if you guys get a different understanding than what I have. It says, saying, Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. 43, and he appeared, and there appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. So this is that angel coming to him, giving him more courage and fortitude. That's why it talks about this. Pray that ye not enter into temptation in the 40, because temptation could be, I already know what's going to happen. Let me try to avoid it from happening. That's a temptation, which I'm sure he had to be dealing with on the inside. It doesn't elaborate that, but I can imagine most of us, if we could avoid certain things, we would avoid them, knowing the future to come. 44. And being in agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was as it were, great drops of blood falling down to the ground. So right here, he's literally sweating blood. 45. And when he rose up from prayer, and he was come to his disciples, he found them sleeping for sorrow. 46. And said unto them, Why sleep ye? Rise and pray, lest you enter into temptation. So again, here's another point where he's trying to tell them, be careful of the temptation, which one of them is going to be tempted. That's the reason why this is coming up over and over. 47. And while he yet spake, behold, a multitude, and he that was called Judas, one of the 12, went before them and drew near unto Jesus to kiss him. 48. But Jesus said unto him, Judas, betrayest thou Son of Man with a kiss? Yes, this is Judas betraying him, saying, this is the one you want right here. So, and we all know what happens, the crucifixion, that he was beat, he was whipped, he was put onto let me skip back over here. He was nailed to the cross. You said Apocrypha, but you are unfocused on change topics. Okay, well, thank you. But yeah, Dubster, just shoot me anything in the DM, and we can definitely talk about it anytime, man. I appreciate you for for dropping by on your Friday night to come through. I know you don't have to, and I appreciate everybody who's dropped through. Even though me and Dubster, we've had our times when we've butted heads and went back and forth, but anytime somebody is earnestly trying to be here and listen and learn, the more the merry.
I was actually a little bit curious as to what that was, and it seems like it's referring to 1 Peter 2:8. And a stone of tumbling and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed.
Okay. That's about not getting proper understanding. That's what that's alluding to. Um, that's the reason why it talks about trying to what is the word? How am I trying to phrase it? To rightfully divide the word. Um, and that's the reason why you want to go in through reading and reading and reading more and more, and try to read into precepts so that you can get confirmation on what you're reading. And also, we got to remember to always keep the context of what different verses are saying to help us understand. That's the reason why every now and then I jump in and kind of give you guys a little up to date what was going on here and what was going on there.
I,
Yeah.
I actually wanted to bring the precepts that we went over last week on precepts
Yeah.
for Isaiah 28.
Yeah, go on ahead.
This is the book of Isaiah, verse 28 and verse 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little, and there a little. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to his people.
Mm-hmm.
To whom he said, This is the rest wherewith ye may cause the weary to rest, and this is the refreshing, yet they would not hear.
Mm-hmm.
But the word of the Lord was unto them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little, that they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so wanted to go into and I was gonna ask anybody who do I need to go into the crucifixion and resurrection? Actually, yes, probably should go into it. Hold on, what is it? I guess it is in Luke and in Matthew. I'm wondering which one should I bring up. I think I should probably pull it up in Matthew. Gotta remember what it is in Matthew.
If anything, we should kind of settle that at the end of Passover stuff.
Well, we've already kind of went from Passover
Oh.
and start transitioning in because it
Okay.
all dovetails together. Especially like his last Passover goes into his crucifixion right after. Because
I guess you could say that the precept to Exodus 12 is Luke is that chapter in Luke that was read, like his crucifixion. I suppose. Is that a stretch to say?
or not Matthew. I was way off there. John. I guess if you wanted to elaborate more on the Passover, but I honestly think, I mean, I guess if you wanted to, I guess go into more ordinances about the Passover, but I mean, I think for the most part, just getting the understanding of what the Passover is, where it's established. But
No,
what would you want?
I thought you had more, but okay. Like as long as you thought that we were good, then all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I just kind of wanted to give everybody a basis of the beginning of the Passover, where it comes from, and then where it was. It's something that even from that time in Exodus, for the Israelites, it was a reoccurring theme. Passover was a holiday, a high holy day that had to, keep going on and on and on. Yeah, Dubster, I don't want to go into that. That'll really sidetrack the debate, and so I kind of want to keep it on point. But yeah, me and you, we can go talk about that later on. So I'm not ignoring you. I just want to let you know. Yeah, that'll sidetrack us for this conversation. Um, is Palm Friday and Good Friday the same day? Yes. But see, and that's something which I always had problems with. The whole Palm Friday and Good Friday thing, because um if you go into how Christianity looks at, you know, Easter on Sunday, or as I would call it, I don't like to use the term Easter, which I'm going to go into why I don't like to call it Easter. I call it resurrection, because if you count the days on how they talk about how he was crucified and when he actually died to the time of him being put in the tomb to when he came back out of the tomb, it doesn't equal the 3 days. It actually only equals about 2.5. And then if you go into how long the typical crucifixion used to take in the ancient worlds, it really, the time doesn't add up for it to properly fall right onto a Sunday. So in my understanding, the Sunday goes into paganism and it goes into sun worship, which that's why Christianity, um, every Sunday is what they consider basically their Shabbat or Sabbath, which they don't really even treat it that way because they still do all the stuff which you're not supposed to do on on a Sabbath. You know, they still buy and sell. They still do things which are, you know, for their own personal enjoyment. They
The
still, you know,
Torah is ignored.
yeah, I mean, everything. I mean, they literally on their Sabbath go out and eat pork same day. So, you know, that gets into a whole different understanding between Christianity and Judaism, or understanding through like Hebrew Israelism, different understandings, different doctrines. But yes, from what I always understood, Palm Friday and Good Friday are the same. Um, yeah, I guess what was it, John 1 and sorry, I gotta look this one up. It's been a while since I've read the crucifixion. It's been a while.
You think there's still enough time to get into like the whole paganism of Easter?
Oh yeah. That's the reason why I'm trying to kind of keep myself trying to figure out what I need to go into and not get myself too far off track, because I want to keep to the 2 hours, like I said. Oops, skipped it. Yeah, go to. I mean, hold on. Yeah, go to St. John chapter 19.
And John. Let me find that.
Then let me switch that on here. So we've already heard the betrayal, which leads up to his whole court and trial and back and forth with Pontius Pilate, and then Pontius Pilate not really wanting to do the crucifixion, or not wanting to really sentence him. Because for those who haven't read this before, you know, spoiler alerts, Pontius Pilate, because of some things he had already did and some kind of he was kind of on thin ice for a lot of things. He really didn't want any part of this. But the Israelites said, hey, don't worry about it. Do it. Let his blood be on us.
So you said St. John chapter what now?
Let's 19, and you can go on ahead and just read 19 to yeah, I guess go ahead and read 19 through Go. Just I won't even interrupt you. Just read John John chapter 19, 1 through 14. For time's sake, I won't keep interrupting.
Okay, because since I'm very not familiar with the New Testament, there's like 3 Johns.
Yeah. Saint John. I know there's the John 1, 2, and 3. This is John separate from that, because there's John and then there's John chapter 1, 2, and 3.
Hang on.
This one would be.
Try to find it.
I think it's what before. It's right after Luke.
Oh, okay. That helps me narrow it down.
Yeah, between Luke and Acts.
Okay. So this is John chapter 19.
Yes. Let's just start off with then Pilate therefore took Jesus.
Okay, got it. So this is the book of John, chapter 19 and verse 1. Then Pilate therefore took Jesus and scourged him. And the soldiers plaited a crown of thorns and put it on his head. And they put on him a purple robe and said, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they smote him with their hands. Pilate therefore went forth again and said unto them, "Behold, I bring him forth to you, that ye may know that I find no fault in him." Then came Jesus forth, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. And Pilate saith unto them, "Behold the man." When the chief priests therefore and officers saw him, they cried out, saying, "Crucify him, crucify him." Pilate saith unto them, "Take ye him and crucify him, for I find no fault in him." The Jews answered him, "We have a law, and by our law he ought to die, because he made himself the Son of God." When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he was the more afraid, and went again into the judgment hall, and saith unto Jesus, "Whence art thou?" But Jesus gave him no answer. Then saith Pilate unto him, "Speakest thou not unto me? Knowest thou not that I have the power to crucify thee, and have power to release thee?" Jesus answered, "Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it were given thee from above. Therefore he that delivered me unto thee hath the greater sin." And from thenceforth Pilate sought to release him. But the Jews cried out, saying, "If thou let this man go, thou art not Caesar's friend. Whosoever maketh himself a king speaketh against Caesar." When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he brought Jesus forth, and sat down in the judgment seat in a place that is called the Pavement, but in the Hebrew, Gabbatha. And it was the preparation of the Passover, and about the 6th hour, and he said unto the Jews, "Behold your king." But they cried out, "Away with him, away with him, crucify him." Pilate saith unto them, "Shall I crucify your king?" The chief priests answered, "We have no king but Caesar." Then delivered he him therefore unto them to be crucified. And they took Jesus and led him away. And he bearing his cross went forth unto a place called the place of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him and two other with him, on either side one, and Jesus in the midst. And Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross. And the writing was, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. This title then read many of the Jews, for the place where Jesus was crucified was nigh to the city, and it was written in Hebrew and Greek and Latin. Then said the chief priests of the Jews to Pilate, Write not, the King of the Jews, but what he said, I am King of the Jews. Pilate answered, What I have written, I have written. Then the soldiers, when they had crucified Jesus, took his garments and made 4 parts, to every soldier a part, and also his coat. Now the coat was without seam, woven from the top throughout. They said therefore among themselves, Let us not rend it, but cast lots for it, whose it shall be, that the scripture might be fulfilled, which saith, They parted my raiment among them, and for my vesture they did cast lots. These things therefore the soldiers did. Now there stood by the cross of Jesus his mother, and his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Cleophas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple standing by whom he loved, he saith unto his mother, Woman, behold thy son. Then saith he to the disciple, Behold thy mother. And from that hour that disciple took her unto his own home. After this, Jesus, knowing that all things were now accomplished, that the scripture might be fulfilled, saith, I thirst. Now there was set a vessel full of vinegar, and they filled a sponge with vinegar, and put it upon hyssop, and put it to his mouth.
Okay,
And
yeah,
Jesus
that's good there.
Hmm.
Because I feel like most people know a lot of this. Might maybe not remember all the details of it. And Dubster says scourge means whip. Yes, that is correct. It says always had the impression the Roman soldiers did that, not Pilate, as it says at the beginning here. Yeah, it's kind of like Biden's the president right now, right? If he decided, okay, troops are now we're going to send American troops to Russia, they'll say Biden invaded Russia. Just like right now, they say, well, Putin invaded Ukraine. You get what I'm saying? So did Pilate literally get down there and whip Christ? No. But because it was ordered through him, he's given on the credit. And that's my understanding on some other topics, which I don't want to go into and get us sidetracked. But
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
And so since we're at 1:30, I'll kind of wrap with this part right here. As you all know in there, and if you don't know, let me know, and then I can go into yes, vinegar, not water. Yeah, I got what you meant. I know you didn't mean war. Yes, and you know why they were giving him vinegar? To dry him out, to make him suffer more. He's already being dehydrated, and vinegar would have made him more dehydrated. That would have made, how you get that little in the back of your throat really start to bother you. He said, okay, yeah, got you under the order of Pilate. Just go. Exactly. It's just like, I'll give you my understanding of Dubster. Like when they talk about how, and God or the Father, he created the heavens and the earth and all that. Our understanding of it is that Like, for instance, if you read some of the text, it says Elohim. Elohim is plural for God. So it's kind of like, I see it as he ordered it, and he put the angels, Christ, all of these people to work, and they fulfilled his dream. And so the Father still gets credit for it because he created all of the people. And I mean, not people, but he created all of the beings which enacted his duty. Just like how if you work at a corporation, your boss or the company gets credit for the work, not in particularly, me, you, and Fuzz, Brian. So that's how my interpretation and understanding on that. Whoever's in charge normally gets the credit, just like they get the blame too. Just like with presidents, they always say, "Well, Bush did this, Trump did that." Did Bush or Trump actually do these things? No, but on their orders, things were done. Just like they say, well, Putin is committing war crimes over there. Is Putin literally running over there, doing any of the stuff which people say is being done? No. Is it possible that his troops are doing that? Yes. It's just the same thing with Zelensky. It's the same thing. They say, well, Zelensky's doing this. He's not actually doing it. Exactly. Credit and accountability. Exactly. See, I knew we can get on the same page on some stuff. So I guess we won't go into it in detail because I'm pretty sure most of us know. After he was on the cross, he was pierced in the, or I'll give you guys the Cleft Notes version. Pierced in the side. He cried out to the Father, basically translated in English, "Why hast thou forsaken me?" And then, he drops his head and he dies. He's taken down from the cross. He is put into the tomb or sepulcher. After he comes out of the sepulcher, well, after they come back after 3 days, they notice that his body is gone. He goes and shows himself to his disciples, and they're able to see the hands. I mean, they're able to see his hands, that he's pierced through his hands, pierced through his feet, and they know that it is him. And then at that point, they watch him ascend into heaven. Now, some people might say that he just floated into the sky on his own. My understanding is that he is taken up into a chariot, and he is taken away and ascends into heaven. Now, I actually think that it is a scripture that goes into that it is actual, that, let me see if I can find that. I believe it is chariot that it says. Let me find that just so that I can back up if I'm correct or not. And if I'm wrong, then I like to stand corrected. Let's see. Luke 24 and 50. Because you'll see that that's where like Bible textual criticism comes in, because you're going to see sometimes that something that's in Matthew is told a little bit differently in Luke. That's what I was telling you about, Fuzz. Sometimes you're going to see where, like, for instance, it's an account where he does a miracle. In one of the books, he is going to save this girl, and she's about to die. In the other account, she's already dead, and he brings her back to life. Two different accounts that are given, and for another one with the genealogy of Christ. When you start looking into Mary's genealogy and Joseph's genealogy, it gives some different names in there. So, do I still stand on the Bible? Yes, I do. But do I know that there are human errors in translations? Yes, I do. Let's see, what was I looking for? Luke 24, right? I think it's 24 and 50.
You were looking something related to chariots?
Yeah.
Okay. Because would this be the same chariot that Elijah was taken up in?
Yes, Elijah was taken up into a chariot also.
Okay.
When the things people thought, my father to the Jerusalem, and for the heavens and lifted up his fingers.
While you're looking for that, here's 2 Kings chapter 2 and verse 11. And it came to pass as they still went on and talked that, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes, and rent them in two pieces.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. When you look in this account of Luke, it doesn't say there in Luke, but I guarantee you, if I go into, gives me Acts 19, 1 and 9. Skip back around to Acts. Let's look to see what it says. Acts 9. And when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. So, like I was saying, if you go to it in Luke, it just tells you that he was lifted up. If you look at the account in Acts chapter 1, verse 9, it tells you that he was received up into the cloud. Now, a lot of times when you look at more precepts on the cloud often goes to chariot. But yeah, there we go. I went a little longer than I wanted to be, but I want to get into this other part, into Easter. Well, what are you over there typing, sir?
Oh no, that was just my device thingy, my fidget device.
Got some anxiety going on over there, sir?
No, just itching to read more stuff.
Okay. Because I'm trying to remember exactly. Pull up Acts 12 and 4.
Acts 12. This is the book of Acts, chapter 12, and verse 4.
Now, after you read this, I'll explain why I pulled this up particularly. Go ahead.
And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison, and delivered him to 4 quaternions. Quaternions.
Yeah, quaternions.
Quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people.
That's why I wanted you to read that. You know why? Because it says Easter there.
Yeah, this is a problem that Deacon always brings up, like what is wrong with the KJV, and we have to accept that the existence of unicorns.
Well, no,
like in the text, that face value.
Well, what it is people have a bad understanding of what a unicorn is. People assume unicorn is this mythical creature. I ask you, when it describes a unicorn in the Bible, what's one other feature it describes besides it having a horn? Do you know?
Off the top of my head, it has been a while since I encountered a unicorn in the scripture.
The
So I
strength
do not remember.
talks about the strength of a unicorn. Now, tell me what animal has one horn and is really strong?
Rhino.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about. They're not actually talking about a horse with a horn coming out of its head. They're talking about a rhino.
In other translations, would the word unicorn be switched for rhino? Or
nope, it's going to have unicorn in all the translations that I've seen. Now, you got to remember the people who are translating this. Did they have rhinos? Are there rhinos in Europe? Where are rhinos at? Think about it. What continent are rhinos on?
More than likely Africa.
Yes, exactly. Now, could there be the possibility that you could have moved rhinos to a part of ancient Asia, which would be partly into the Levant? Yeah, it's very well possible. But I mean, like I've seen ancient drawings where they tried to draw what an elephant looks like, and it's just sad. It's very sad. And so it showed that the people in Europe had no clue what some of this stuff looked like. That's the reason why their understandings and writing, sometimes it makes sense trying to explain some of these things because they had never seen these things before. So they're trying to describe them. Unicorn, if the etymology of that word, unihorn, goes into one horn. A creature with one horn. That doesn't necessarily say it has to be a horse. Just a creature with one horn that's exceedingly strong. It's just like another one with Jonah in there. They say a lot of people internalize that to a fish swallowed him. Doesn't say, I mean, well, that a whale swallowed him. They don't say a whale. It says a fish. So when people get specific and start going into, well, a whale couldn't possibly do this and blah, 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 blah. It never said a whale. It says a fish, and it doesn't tell you, it doesn't specify what fish is talking about. How do we even know that the fish is a fish that no longer exists anymore? How do we know it's not a fish that lives in the depths of the bottom of the ocean? We don't know that. And there have been many of animals that have went extinct throughout the course of human history. So
one quick second.
Sure. So let's I wanted to go into that part you brought up about Easter because we all heard these accounts, which I was reading a little bit earlier. What did we keep hearing over and over and over? Passover, 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 Feast of Unleavened Bread. And here it says Easter. The reason why is because when it got translated into the English, that's what got mixed in, because a lot of paganism was mixed into the Bible in that time period, i.e. many definitions of things changed. I won't go into all of them. We're going to focus particularly on Easter. Where does Easter come from? Does anybody know? Why Easter? Why that word in particular? Fuzz, can you help us out?
I believe the idol's name was Estra.
Very close. I want you to pull up
Misha. Got it. Ishtar. It's gotta be that. It should be that one.
Yes, Ishtar. Easter existed before Jesus died, according to the Bible. Is that the significance? The significance is that, yeah, Ishtar. Ishtar is what we need to focus on. Who is Ishtar? I see Misha's on point. Dubster's on point. Who is Ishtar? Does anybody know who Ishtar is? Or her significance? Anything about Ishtar's story? I'll give you guys a little bit of time. And while you're at it, Fuzz, I want you to bring up what Genesis 10.
Genesis 10.
Yeah.
On the way.
Ishtar, yes, spring goddess, new life. Yes, you're right. But why? But why is she a spring goddess known for new life? I see. So you're following me. But let's see if we can take it all the way home. Let's see how much the chat knows without me explaining. Wasn't she the mother/wife of a pagan? You guys are getting close. It's getting really warm. Getting really warm.
I'm at Genesis 10.
All right. I want you to read. I guess just go ahead and start with 1, and I'll tell you where to stop and skip to.
Okay. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 10, and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these are the generations of the sons of Noah: Shem,
Right.
Ham, and Japheth.
You hear that? You guys with me? You guys with us? Shem, Ham, and Japheth, right? The 3 sons of Noah. Now, let's skip down to a specific one of the sons. Skip down to 6.
And the sons of Ham: Cush.
You hear that? Hear that? Now we're focusing on one of the sons of Noah, Ham, right?
Cush and Mizraim. And
Cush,
Phut,
Mizraim, Put, and who else?
Canaan.
Canaan. Okay. Let's see. Now, so there we go. Misha's getting to it. Now skip down to 8.
And Cush begat Nimrod.
Cush begot Nimrod. There we go.
He began to be a mighty one in the earth.
All right. So now we went through this genealogy. Noah, his son Ham, and one of his 4 sons, Cush. Cush, he had his own land, and Cush goes into Cushites, which that's a group of people, which there are people still to this day who call themselves Cushites, who know that their Bible lineage goes all the way back to Cushites, goes back to children of Ham. Well, this is the part which you won't necessarily find in there. But you got to, once you start getting into paganism talks all about this, goes in detail about this over and over and over. And this has been passed down over generations. I'm wondering, should I show a little video, help everybody illustrate this out? Because there's a good channel that really did an excellent job on this. I knew this before it, but this guy lays it out excellent. You should I let me know if you guys want me to just keep breaking it down alone and you're good on that, or if you want me to show you guys a little snippet of a video that'll help break it down more.
Oh, is it the one that goes into mother and child breakdowns?
Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and bring it up anyway. Let's see, where we at? Oh, okay. Dubster says breakdown. Cool. Let's get straight into the paganism breakdown. As we've already mentioned Ishtar, right? Cush, his wife, name was Ishtar. Ishtar, or some people might say even Semiramis. She has various different names she goes by. But Ishtar is the one I want us to focus on right now. The reason why is because when Cush dies, she has a son. That son she has is Nimrod, that we all know about. Well, do you know what happened? In order for her to stay in power, she married her son, Nimrod. Now, what she told everybody is that she was also divine, that she wasn't born like any other human being. She actually came down in an egg. Whereas that's what leads into the whole boiled eggs and Easter egg hunts and bunnies and eggs, that because this is Semiramis who had the egg, who she's born from the egg. So this is giving honor to her when you guys do Easter egg hunts and things like that. Now, before her and Nimrod, well, this is what she says. Propaganda is Nimrod reincarnated. Yes, we're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah. Nimrod, when he's killed by his uncle Shem, and he's cut up in many places. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, he's killed. In order for her to stay in power, what she tells everybody is that Nimrod ascended into the sun. And she got pregnant from the Nimrod's sun rays, which birthed her son Cush. I mean, not Cush, Tammuz. Sorry, get it mixed around. But yes, the son Tammuz. Tammuz was killed by a wild boar, which goes to why a lot of people eat pig or ham in conjunction with Easter. So we have Easter, Ishtar, eggs, her birth story, and then the animal which killed her son. And so they're eating that as in like eating the flesh, of Tammuz.
And doesn't that also break open the whole concept of virgin births?
And this is what led to the first concepts of virgin birth. This is what led to the concepts of sun worship and Apollo and all of these different things. This is also what led into what they call Father God, Mother God, and Son God worship. And so when you start seeing that Mary, Joseph, and now I'm not saying Mary and Joseph and Christ's story is false, but I'm saying when it starts getting into things like a lot of Catholics believe this in Mary's perpetual virginity. They believe even though she had a son, after she had Christ, she still didn't have sex with her husband. When in the Bible, it literally tells you that she had 4 other kids. But they completely ignore that part. Somehow, I guess, so that means that all the other kids are virgin births too. So even if you believe, okay, you believe Christ is a virgin, you believe the virgin birth story. Catholics believe that all of her kids are virgins. So how would that make his birth any different than theirs if it's all virgin births? Because in the Bible, it says he was born the same way of all his other brothers. And if you go into Wisdom of Solomon, it says that there was no king. Every king was born the same way, compacted in blood for 10 months. And yeah, so it says all kings. And he's a king, so that would allude to him being born the same way. And it talks about even with the pleasure of love. So, no, not the pleasure of love, but the pleasure that comes with sleep, which that to me sounds a lot like He was born the good old-fashioned way. I don't want to go into the whole virgin birth thing tonight, but I do not teach that. I do not believe in that, and I will leave it there. But also, what sprung off into a lot of these other paganism, just like Christmas, because Nimrod, they also said that Nimrod's spirit went into the trees. So when you're cutting down the fir tree, when you're cutting down the fir tree and you're bringing the fir tree into your home, that's the symbol. That's symbolizing bringing Nimrod into your home. And when you drape the tree in gold and silver, that's the reason why in the Bible it tells you not to do that. That's giving honor to Nimrod. That's dressing Nimrod up in gold and jewels and things like that. Now, there's other, I don't know if I mean, depending on the listening audience, I don't know how deep I want to go into the paganism of some of the other mythologies about the Christmas tree and Nimrod, things like that. I don't know. You guys let me know if you want me to go into, but go on ahead, Fuzz.
Yeah, if you could just let me bring out that scripture in Jeremiah that talks about that briefly touches upon Christmas.
Yeah. Go on ahead, bring out the Christmas tree scripture.
All right.
But while he's doing that, if you guys want me to go in more detail to some of the stuff which is alluded to, or which goes into some of mythology category, you let me know. I'm just letting you know that it's not kid friendly, that part. But it leads into other forms of other pagan cultures and traditions and things also. So it's all connected.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 2 through 3. 2 through actually 5. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen, with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And thank you, Dubster, for swinging by. I appreciate you definitely for, checking me out. Like I said before, I know you don't have to be here, but thank you for coming through anyway. I know it's probably late in some of these other time zones, but yeah, Misha, I'll go into it with you later on. I'll probably send you the video. Well, actually, I don't know if that one's in a video, but just I'll say it like this. Remember, I said before that Nimrod's uncle Shem comes and kills him. It is alleged that he was chopped up into many pieces. And of the many pieces that he was cut into, some parts of him did not come back. And so it leads into, what's the nice way of saying this? Phallic worshiping. So that's where some of the stuff goes into. As you would see, obelisk and things like that. All of these things, pyramids, ziggurats, all of those things kind of go back to Nimrod and the Tower of Babel and those things. So I'll leave it there for for this class. And I was wondering, any questions, Fuzz?
For right now, related to Passover and Easter, no.
All right. Chat, do you guys have any questions at all? Any questions that you have, go on ahead and toss them out. We could try to go into them. Yeah, exactly. So if you guys ever wonder why you never see me wearing a tie, Like there's a time where I don't know, maybe I might put one of the pictures up when I went to the wedding, and I didn't put the pictures. I'm kind of getting a little chunky, a little rotund than I normally am, so I'm trying to lose some of that weight, and then I could do it before and after. But yeah, if you notice the ties, let's just say it this way: in the ancient world, there were two ways they used to use a symbol for man and woman. The pyramid is for men, and let's just say you flip that upside down, and that's for female. Now it's kind of a crude early way that they would explain male and female, but I don't know. I'll let your imaginations figure out what I'm trying to say. You know, even some guys, they'll be like, "Yeah, I'm looking for that." I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. But they'll describe a woman's area, you know, with the abbreviation, you know, of V. That's, you know, in the reverse. So yeah, I'm just it goes much deeper than that into the paganism and stuff like that. But I'm gonna leave it there for now. I mean, who knows? My mom might be watching this this lesson. I don't want to make it awkward, so I'm gonna leave it there. Any other questions anybody has later on? You guys, if you missed this live stream, then you guys can always put it in the comment section. I do come back and check these regularly. Just trying to see if there's any questions in there that anybody wants to ask me. If you guys are not following, if you're not following my, I guess my Twitter page, Hebrew Apologetics, Marcus Cage, it is at What Cage. So at WHATCAGE. And you guys can always feel free to DM me, ask me any questions you have. Also, if there's any topics that you would like to see us go into and discuss, please send it to myself or send it to my man right here, Fuzz. Was it Fuzz the Frame or is it just Fuzz Frame?
Yeah, Fuzz the Frame.
Okay. And so, and that is at FUZZTHEPHRAIM. So, that said, that is all we have for those who were celebrating the Passover. I'd like to say, you know, a happy Shabbat Shalom, and hopefully those who are not celebrating and just, you know, just tuning in to tune in, you guys have a good weekend. I will see you guys back tomorrow for what is my show tomorrow? Can't even remember, the Political Matrix, and then on Sunday I have a very special interview with Carl Zah. He is hope I get this word correctly, Balinese influencer. I get, well, not influencer. I would say I don't know if he considers himself a historian or not, but he is kind of an expert on a lot of things dealing with China, Chinese culture, Chinese politics, Chinese history. And so we're going to have a nice, interesting discussion about a lot of these things. And for those who follow this channel, know that all of the things which I talk about a lot of times on the Political Matrix and in some of these interviews tie back and dovetail with prophecies and stuff which we've either talked about or are going to talk about later on. So make sure to pay a close attention to some of the things which I talk about on the Political Matrix and in some of these interviews, because they are pertinent. So that said, I guess I will leave it there. Fuzz, anything that you want to say before we get out of here?
No, I'm good. Kal hala Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai.
Okay. All right. Let's have a good night. And Kwame Yasharala.